You are listening to High Heels and High Chairs, voted the best online resource for busy moms who wish to stay strong, sexy, and centered in a world of spit up and sippy cups. Whether you're a new mom, a grandmom, a future mom, or somewhere in between, you'll love these priceless tips, tricks, and tools you will learn today. Here is your host, top female fat loss and hormone specialist, Dr. Michelle Sands.
Hi, and welcome back to High Heels and High Chairs, where we're talking about how to stay strong, sexy, and centered in a world of spit up and sippy cups. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Sands, and today I am speaking with an amazing woman. Danielle is a licensed clinical social worker, and she has her master's in social work from San Diego State. She's currently a student for her doctor of clinical psychology. She also studies French medical aromatherapy, and she's a well-known expert in the industry of holistic emotional wellness. I love the way Danielle is so passionate about inspiring others to have success in their mindset and emotional wellness. She's the founder of Essential Psychology, Inc., and she provides trainings all over the world on the flip-flap mindset and essential oils for the brain. I actually found Danielle because I was typing in flip-flap mindset because I was actually on the beach in Costa Rica, and I thought that was just something that really resonated with me. And then she came up in the Google search under flip-flap mindset, so that's how I found her. And she really does help you. Yeah, I know you didn't know that. She really does just help people to really learn how to just get in touch with their emotions so that they can feel that peace that you feel when you have your toes in the sand. So Danielle, welcome to the summit. I'm so excited to speak with you today.
Oh, I'm excited to be on. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. So Danielle, I found out a little bit about your background and I was really intrigued. But for the people listening, I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about how you started out and what kind of led you on the path to learning so much about how the brain works, emotions, and eventually essential oils.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. So, yes, you said my name is Danielle, and I get a lot of questions if that's my real name because it's so funny, and yes, it is. My real name.
I know. I totally started blubbering over it.
It's my maiden name. It's not even my married name. That's what's fun. But anyway, you'll never forget it, and that's the great thing. You'll always remember. So, my path, I had total hippie mama from the 70s, and she just loved herbs and everything and essential oils, and so we've been using them for 20 years. And then I actually got more interested in psychology just because I love the brain. I remember I had anatomy class, and we got to study the brain. I was just like, I want to be a brain expert. And then for the mindset, that's really been something to my own personal journey. I grew up in a very difficult background as well, as many people, do, and it just got me on this path of, using that difficult background to be a strength for me and a strength for others and not to hinder me. So that's kind of how my whole holistic psych world came together.
Awesome. Yeah, so I always find studies of the brain so intriguing because it's really something that we can control and then sometimes we can't control it. So for moms listening, sometimes our emotions get away from us and it's really hard to step outside of ourselves and really focus on creating a positive mindset so that we can be good role models for our children and just be really present in our life when we have so much going on. So for those people who are struggling with really getting this under control, what's a good place to start?
To get this under control, a good place to start is really, I always say, with essential oils, things naturally that you can do. Essential oils and then the mindset. Those are two of my, passions. They're two ways you can really tap into body chemistry because over 90% of the messages in our body are communicated through chemistry, whether that be through your thoughts and beliefs, which do fire a certain neural pattern, or using essential oils or I like to say, using essential oils, which, again, help to support the firing of different chemistry in the body as well. So that's a really good place to start is looking at belief sets and mindset and essential oils that you can do to help everything to just be more optimal for you.
So I'm really interested. I know some people listening from essential oils. We learned about essential oils in my medical school, but we didn't get as far in depth as you've actually studied. So I would love for you to just maybe explain, first of all, what an essential oil is, and then why they might be beneficial for someone's thoughts and emotions.
Yeah, that'd be great. So an essential oil is this little aromatic compound. It's this little molecule that sits on top of plants. Sometimes they're on seeds, the bark, the stem, roots of different types of plants, basically, trees, flowers. And what they do is they help protect that plant. They're really this natural component of the plant that has all the benefits for it to keep it alive and to keep it vibrant. So plants are carbon-based, and so are humans. So when you take those essential oils and you apply them on you, either topically, aromatically, or internally, depending on the brand, and when you do that, they can do the same type of thing in the body of just being vibrant for you, creating chemical movement in the body because, like I said, everything's communicated through chemistry. I really like the science behind it, so I love studying how they interact with, gut chemistry and then brain chemistry. Whether you take them internally or put them in topically, there's different things you can do because they very much help support overall brain health and function, memory, focus, moods. You can use different ones to uplift emotions to help with softening your heart for forgiveness. You can do things for consoling you if you're going through grief. It's just amazing what they can do in brain chemistry just by inhaling them and getting them, into the brain. It's amazing.
That's interesting. So, it's a little bit controversial sometimes. You see stuff that is for and against the ingestion of essential oils. So they're very popular for diffusing and having in the air. When it comes to applying to your skin or to injecting, what's your take on that, and what rules are there that people should follow when they're thinking about putting it into their bodies or onto their skin?
Yeah, so first of all, you want to make sure your essential oils that whoever you're buying from are pure and potent. Those are two things that, I have a certain essential oil company that I use because of that. They're very focused on making them so pure that obviously it can go in your body and on your skin without a problem. The second thing is essential oils for internal use. So that's something that's been studied in French medical aromatherapy for years. This is not a new concept. And in small little doses, they're very beneficial for the gut. So when I say small doses, that's like 1 drop or something like that at a time, which I'll do like a drop in my water, or I'll put a drop under my tongue to help with digestion. But here's the thing, is the oils and things that you use come from herbs of the plant that you ingest already. So if you ingest the herbs that have essential oils on them, you're already getting them internally. So a lot of the hype can sometimes be misinformation. So let's just look at oregano, thyme, marjoram. All those are essential oils and plants that when you eat them, you're eating the essential oils, cilantro. And so they're very safe. Now, when you're talking about something that's spicy on the skin or internally, then you would want to just be careful, especially with children. Something like clove or cinnamon, for example. Oregano is actually spicy too. So things that are spicy.
It's really hot,
yeah, but they're really good.
The oregano is something I use often for people who have parasitic issues or some type of bacterial issue in their gut. So I use oregano all the time. And what I do with it is I have them get those blank little gel caps that you can get at a health food store and put the oregano oil in that so they don't have the unpleasant burning sensation that comes with it because it is very potent.
Yeah, and it's great for affecting gut bacteria and things like that.
So I kind of feel for many of my patients and for myself when I first started, essential oils can be very confusing. Which ones you use, which one works. So is there a way to navigate through that system? Because there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of essential oils to choose from. Are there a few, maybe a handful that people can use for a variety of different problems, or is there ones that are better specifically for mindset and brain health?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what I usually do, so here's the two things. Let's just talk about brand for a second. When you're looking at essential oils, you want ones that are pure and potent. So pure means they're not diluted, okay? There's no foreign compounds, no toxic or petrochemicals that are inside of that to dilute it down, right? The next thing you want to look at is potent, and this is really important because just because you have a lavender plant, right, that's growing in your front yard, it doesn't mean it has the same chemical profile as a lavender plant that's grown in high altitudes of France. When you do a research analysis on the two, the lavender in France has been shown time and time again to have these compounds that are high that do benefits for the body, and that's for calming, for anything with anxious emotions or with needing to sleep and things like that. It has the compounds high in there that actually cause that effect rather than having it be low and not be effective. So those are two things. So the essential oils I love to use are through doTERRA, and the reason being is because their entire focus is finding the plants from around the world that are high in those compounds. And that's why hospitals and doctors like Dr. Michelle and me and other hospitals that start using doTERRA because of that. So that's one thing. The second part to answer your question is, what essential oils do I use for my mindset and for motivation? Now, the reason why I don't recommend just buying essential oils off of the shelf is because of this reason right here. There is so much education needed. You want to purchase essential oils from someone who provides amazing essential oil education, because it's hard to know with like a bottle of something, what do I do for it, where do I put it, how do I use it, what's it good for. So having a place that you can go for educational background is huge. So one thing I do, and I'm going to give you some tips, but I do have some trainings. So one's called the Flip-Flop Mindset, where I go into which essential oils help with the mindset and motivation and emotions, right? So that's called the Flip-Flop Mindset. I'll give you the URLs later. And then the other one I do is essential oils in the brain, where I go into what oils help with worry or with uplifting mood or memory and focus and things like that, and stress. So that way you have that learning that you're starting to get from those two main trainings that I do offer. So just to give you a few, to answer a couple of your questions on that. So some essential oils that I really like to use for basically uplifting mood. Whenever you're having really like negative thoughts, okay, negative thoughts are very damaging on your body and neurochemistry. They're very draining, and all of us know that, right? When you start feeling negative, you just all of a sudden, like, I don't want to do anything, and right?
Well, it can start with just fatigue or just not feeling happy. It can be moody, but then it can go as far as developing an autoimmune condition. Like we've actually found in studies that the majority, like we're talking in the 90 to 95 percentile of autoimmune conditions. We're talking Hashimoto's thyroiditis, we're talking rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis. A lot of these are caused initially by a traumatic experience or consistent negative thoughts. So it's serious matters that we're talking about. Like simple, like easy, very easy, simple things that take less than a second, such as using an essential oil, can really help you to, get away from this and avoid, something as simple as fatigue or something as, devastating as autoimmune disease.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so simple to be able to just put one drop of essential oil in your hand, inhale it through your nose, and know that it's actually traveling through your neural effector pathways to the limbic system, part of your brain, to stimulate this release and communication with different neurotransmitters. So some oils I like for like what we were just talking about, for uplifting mood or for increasing positivity or increasing energy, okay? There's actually citrus oils. I'm going to lump that into just citrus oils because they are so good at causing like an invigorating feeling for you. And there's others as well, but we're going to keep it simple. You can do my trainings to learn even more depth. But the citruses, which are going to be lemon, orange, bergamot, grapefruit, tangerine, anything that, again, comes from a citrus plant is going to have that. It's called limonene. Limonene is the compound inside citruses. And that limonene is what helps to cause an uplifting sensation in the brain, in the body, in your mood, and in your positivity. So when I'm and I'm trying to get my mindset and overcome some blocks and beliefs that are negative, if I'm feeling just really like I'm brewing on something negative, I'll get my citrus, inhale it, and I'll also put some in my water and drink it, so that I'm kind of getting two different ways and just uplifting and getting back to that positive mindset that I need to be successful. So that's some of the ways that we use that.
It's funny because I'm actually just using a citrus blend in my office right now. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Awesome. So we have citrus blend. Before you go into any more samples of what oils would be best. I have a question. You mentioned, well, I have a couple of questions. One, when you're talking about making sure that your oils are pure and potent, is there a way like you can figure that out from looking at the label? Like if you get an oil off your shelf at the store, can you tell, or is it really hard to tell sometimes because you know things sometimes in food? We talk about this a lot in food items. It'll say natural or it'll say pure on the front, but then when you actually look at the label, there's things on it that are definitely not natural and pure. So just for people at home that might have some in their cabinet, I know I had an experience. I've talked about this before for the people who follow me. I heard, when I was in school, they were talking about the benefits of lemon oil and putting lemon oil in your water for fat burning and for detoxification. So I was in school and I went to the drugstore and I got an essential oil and I put it in my water and oh my God, it was horrible. It was burning. It tasted so chemical, and I just couldn't understand why, like how all these people are putting the lemon oil in their water and drinking it, because it was absolutely the worst thing I ever did. But it was because I was using a drugstore version that was not, it said pure on it, but really wasn't pure. I later came to find out the way it was processed was not a way that I would want to put something in my body. So for those listening at home, how can you tell if it's pure and potent from the label? Can you?
So sort of and sort of not. So here's the thing is that there's not a governing body over essential oils. The FDA governs them, but under the cosmetics, and so they don't govern the quality. So what most companies do is they put the term therapeutic grade. However, there's no standard really to therapeutic grade. There's an understanding to what it is, but there's not a standard. So why I like doTERRA is they actually have their own standard, and it's called Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade, and they have it tested with outside sources. They don't internally do that testing. So that certified pure therapeutic grade makes it so that it's pure and potent and makes sure that it is. They test every liter. But the other thing you can do just on your own is when you go to a store and you want to smell them, and it's called organoleptic testing. It's a fancy name for saying smell it, right? When you smell it, you can tell, and this is how you can tell. If it smells bitter, it's not going to be great for you. If it smells rancid, it's not going to be good for you. If it smells like, I've had a lavender once, we were smelling it, and it smelled like grass. And I'm like, okay, lavender smells like a flower, not grass. So, and then the other thing, if you can barely smell the hint of the plant, the plant in there, then you know it's diluted and it's not pure. So you should be able to open that bottle. It should smell sweet. It should smell rich. And it should smell very potent, like whatever the plant is, like if it's, lavender, or if it's cilantro, or if it's lemon, not faint. So that's one of the best ways you can tell. But again, like, I do strategy sessions with people, consult sessions to kind of help them get started and know what to use for essential oils, so that can be helpful too.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great information, because I know that's something people are thinking about, and it's something that before I started to learn a little bit more, something that I wasn't familiar with. So thanks for letting us know. Those are two great ways to check that out. And also, when you were talking about the citrus blend, you mentioned that you breathe it in and then you also put some in your water. Is there a way to know which oils are okay to put in your water? Are there any oils that you shouldn't put in your water or that you want to put on your skin? You kind of mentioned earlier the spicy ones that aren't good to go on the skin. Are all of them okay to put in your water?
No, not every oil is okay for internal use. There's some that are not, like wintergreen would be one that you wouldn't do internally. And again, that's just through the educational. That's why it's important when you buy your oils to go buy them through somebody who has that education to continue to help you and guide you in that. So most
that makes sense.
oils, I mean, the kind of the rule of thumb is it something that you would normally eat, like cilantro? Okay, the cilantro essential oil and cilantro you would normally eat. It's an okay thing to go in the gut.
Citrus,
what else?
Makes sense.
Yeah, citruses are obvious ones. Rosemary, for example, stuff like that. But then other things that we don't eat, like frankincense. Frankincense is an excellent one to go in internally as well, even though that's not something we normally eat because it comes from gum sap. So there's a learning curve. But I'm here for kind of help through that and just amazing what we can do with our emotions and our mindset, once we start applying essential oils and really working on deep-rooted beliefs that you can change and be that happy person. That's really what we want in life, is to be happy and successful. And it really does start with your own beliefs and that your own chemistry and using those essential oils to get there.
So is that because when you think about like your grandma, you think about good times and you think about that smell that was in her house, maybe like the smell of cookies or the smell of flowers, and that evokes that kind of happy feeling? Is that kind of what we're doing with the oils, or is it a different mechanism?
It's both. It's both. There's lots of different mechanisms, and so I would say there's more than just that one. But that's nostalgic, right? That's an emotional memory that's stored in the amygdala part of the brain. So when you inhale something, like I said, the little molecules, whatever you inhale, if it's baked bread in your grandma's house, right? When you smell that in, it goes to those neural olfactory pathways, and it stimulates to the amygdala, which is where emotional memory is stored. So all of a sudden, it stores this memory with that scent. And so this memory and sense, like, oh, that's grandma. So it will trigger a happy, emotion. But if it's a negative emotion with a scent, then it will trigger a negative. So it's definitely, and most times, we have really, we smell a lot of these essential oils. They don't really create this negative emotion for us. But it's really that, and then it's also because essential oils are basically chemistry. They're these different chemical compounds, right? And what they do is those molecules bind to different molecules in the brain to help the brain do what it needs to do to uplift mood or to feel peace and things like that.
Awesome. So I'm just asking for this, someone's thinking it. So if you can uplift the brain with certain oils, are there oils that would make you feel bad or negative associations, or no, it doesn't work that way?
No, it doesn't really work that way because essential oils aren't really, they're not something that produce negative, like they don't like for example, they'll help support the production of serotonin. They're not gonna damage and support the production.
That makes a lot of sense.
Not in that sense, unless
so you can't mess with that.
No, they're so
it's either gonna uplift or it's not gonna do anything. So that makes sense.
Yep. It's either going to your body needs it, it's going to do it. Yeah. What?
You mentioned citrus is one of your favorites for uplifting mood. Do you have any other ones that you like for either focus or evoking feelings of calmness?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of my favorites for focus are frankincense is a really good one. I use that, and sandalwood. So I'll put like a drop of those on my pulse points on my neck, so right where you can feel your pulse. And that's where, blood gets taken to the brain. And so I kind of use those areas, and I'll do my studies. I'm in my doctorate. So I'm have lots of exams and things. So that's what I use for that. For focus, for memory, it's also frankincense, and clary sage is another good one for memory. So clary sage is also good for balancing hormones. A lot of times when we look at uplifting mood and clinical disorders, we look at what's going on with the hormones because that ties into mental health. And my top 3 oils for hormones are clary sage, geranium, and ylang-ylang. And I could say 4, lavender too. I love lavender. So it also helps with phytoestrogen properties. So anyway, there's different oils. There's a blend doTERRA makes with all of those in it called Clary Calm. And that's just what I have people do for just memory, but also hormone balancing for uplifting mood. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So, that's what I like about the company doTERRA is that they actually put some of these together into blends for you that way you don't have to have all the separate oils, or you don't have to, know this. You could just get the blend and it'll tell you what it's for. And so I actually really like that for people who are starting out. They can do some of these blends, and it kind of gives you a guideline, like no-brainer kind of thing, where you can be like, okay, I'm looking into my digestion. You could use a digestion blend, or I'm looking to drop some pounds. I have a slim and sassy blend, which is awesome. It's great in your water. You can just use it in the air, and it actually will help with detoxification. So there's some great ones out there. So I love that about that specific company that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And the education that comes with it all is what really will help you get on your way with emotional management and healing. It's amazing. So.
And I really do agree with you on the education part. It's very similar to supplements. Like if you don't really know what you need or what things do, then you're going to waste your money and your time taking a bunch of supplements because you saw them on TV or you heard about them from a friend. You really do need to educate yourself because we're also different. We're also bio-individual, that there's certain needs that we have and there's certain things that are going to work for us and there's certain things that we're going to like better. So you're actually going to develop your favorite ones, your go-to ones. I actually use one that's called Breathe. It's also a blend. I use that in my son's bedroom when he sleeps every night. He's 1 years old now, and it's great. That actually worked really, really well when he got his first cold a couple months ago. Because, there's all those over-the-counter medications for children that are so damaging to their brain. So it's wonderful that, we can use essential oils really to heal ourselves. You can really create your own little, holistic medicine cabinet with the oils. So I love them for those reasons.
Yeah. And so one thing I usually, recommend for people, especially with clinical disorders, is that essential oils do not treat or cure or heal any medical diagnoses. And so I would recommend if you're on something or, there is something major going on, you definitely talk to your doctor. It's very different. The chemistry of them is very different. And so what I recommend is they're great to support and manage those moods and emotions, but don't do them in lieu of. Just talk to your doctor about that. Because this brain chemistry is so complicated and so different. So, and also therapy is huge. And if it's okay if I talk about this one story. I work in an office. I used to work in an office anyway, clinical counseling. And I had this teenager come in, and he's gone through a lot of trauma in his life, and just a lot of things that have just gone majorly wrong. And one day the teacher took his cell phone away, and he was super upset, just overly angry about it because obviously it's rooted in other things and anger and trauma from his life, right? So he comes in, he's super angry. I have my essential oil going, right, and I've got the citrus on. And he comes in, just mad, he's just like, and then he does this big inhale, and he's like, it smells really good in here. And he sat down, and he was able to refocus. That scent just calmed him, uplifted his mood. And so that's why I hope that gives you an example. It's very different emotionally how the oils work rather than, medicine. So I don't want anybody to think it's in place of. It's just really a complement to your health as you would eat a salad is healthy for you. So it was amazing. He was able to kind of, take responsibility for his cell phone getting taken away and things like that. It was awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I always stress supporting the body and healing itself, because that's really what I'm all about with naturopathic medicine. And, it's not, we don't condemn conventional medicine. I mean, some people are on medication. You may be on a medication, and you may need that, and that's okay. We're not saying that that's wrong. But it's also an awesome practice to support your body in healing by having a great diet and getting proper rest and using supplements and essential oils to help support what your body really wants to do. And sometimes it takes a while, especially if you have, a lot of toxins in your system, if you live in a toxic environment or you're eating, processed foods. So it might take a little longer as you start, on your path to improving your health and wellness. But definitely that support is definitely what we need, and it's going to just benefit your whole family. Like I said, I use it with my 1-year-old son. My husband doesn't even realize he's using it when I'm diffusing things in the air. So, it's really kind of funny. It's even like our toothpaste, that's a whole other topic, but, it's a combination of coconut oil and some essential oils, which is amazing, and my teeth have never been whiter. So, it's really multifaceted, like all the things you can do. We're talking about brain health right now, that I alluded to, weight loss and digestion and things like that as well, because it's actually all related. Like, you guys know me. It's all about the body. It's all connected. So when your digestion's good, your brain's good, your hormones are good. So it's just, we're really one whole unit. So I know that Danielle really understands that, and she's really into the whole holistic emotional wellness. So that is one of the reasons why I really respect her and wanted to hear from her today. So Danielle, I know we're running towards the end of our time, and I wanted to make sure you alluded to the flip-flop mindset webinar that you do. So I know you're allowing everyone listening to get in for free, so that is awesome and valuable. So if you could tell us a little bit more about, well, first of all, the code that they get in for free with. I'm going to post that also on this your expert page. So when you're listening to this interview, it's just going to be right next to it, the link and the code to get in. But if you can tell us just a little bit about what we'll learn in there, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I would love to. So the flip-flop mindset is something I've really branded again. I love the beach. I'm a surfer girl here in San Diego, California, and I love my flip-flops. So I created this whole thing around the flip-flop mindset. And what it is you can really, you look at what are those negative beliefs or those things that like start bringing down that, bringing in negative chemistry in your brain, and how can we flip-flop those, right? Flip-flop those beliefs into statements that are actually going to produce better positivity for the brain. And let me kind of explain this. So I really like this study that it's Mr. Emoto is a researcher, and he researched on the crystalline structures of water. And his colleagues found that water droplets would form from different, they'd form different crystalline patterns and like looking like snowflakes after exposed to different types of music, and they would freeze them and they could study them. So exposure to like heavy metal music, for example, which I like rock, but I will tell you, it disrupted the crystal. It showed that the crystal is just not forming well because of that type of music. But when you listen to, or when you put the water next to Mozart's symphony, it would result in these like beautifully formed crystals. So then they took their research further and showed that by writing different words or phrases like on a piece of paper, and they would tape that paper on that like vial of water, and they would leave it overnight, and they studied the different crystalline structures that resulted. And what they found is that the phrase, they did one negative one, they did "I hate you," it resulted in a very asymmetrical and disrupted crystal. Then they wrote the phrase "I love you," which invariably resulted in a very beautiful, symmetrical ice crystal. So the most intensely and beautiful ice crystals that were formed in their studies was formed when they used the word love and gratitude just taped over the water. And if you think about this, I've got a couple of things I'm going to reference with this. In my flip-flop mindset, I really talk about what are those phrases, what are those beliefs, and what are they doing to your body and brain chemistry. And then the second thing, and this is interesting, remember that over 70% of your body is what? It's water.
Yes.
So can you see how important it is to maintain like those thoughts of positivity instead of negativity? And during my flip-flop mindset,
awesome. I can't even tell you like how that reference that study is. I actually read that study a while back, and I just kind of forgot about it, but you just brought it up. And we've had several experts on the summit that have been talking about positive mindset and the importance of gratitude and journaling and all of these things, but this really puts it into perspective. So I love that you brought that up. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. It does. And so this Flip-Flop Mindset webinar, we go through, it's a 30-day, well, the webinar, the training is just a 1-hour training, and then I show you a 30-day regimen that you can do to start thinking and turn it into how to kind of work with the brain and the brain processes to turn it into solid beliefs for you. And then I also offer, as on this webinar, you can also purchase the Essential Oils and Emotions package. There's a whole emotional aromatherapy that you can get with it at the end if you would like to, that can get you started with using the oils and that mindset all together in one. So you can get the training for free from me from just listening to Dr. Michelle.
Wonderful. And then you'll be connected with me as well because we work together with the oil. So it's actually a great way to connect and get some additional coaching and advice. So I love, what you're doing. And I really love the way you put it into perspective from a clinical perspective when it comes to the brain and the way that your emotions are wired. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing today. It's been just amazing and informative and really cleared up a lot of questions that I know a lot of people in the audience have. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And if anybody wants to continue to connect with me, I'm on Instagram and Facebook are my main ones, and I'm at Holistic Psych. My handle is at Holistic Psych. On Facebook, it's #Holistic Psych.
Okay, awesome. I will put all your links up on the picture. And then also, you're also offering just a free consult if somebody wants to just jump in right away, correct?
if they want to jump in right away and get started on ordering essential oils through, Dr. Michelle and I, then yes, you can do a consult. It's all on the page, theflipflopmindset.com.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you again so much, and thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you guys learned a lot and you're inspired to add essential oils into your lifestyle for yourself and your family. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you back tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you received a lot of value out of this interview. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity that you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It is about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It is about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can take better care of your family and be a shining example, a role model for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life that you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews, and be sure to check out all the resources on my website, metabolicmama.com. Until next time, wishing you a happy, healthy, hot day. Take care, mamas.